Welcome to Good for Bitcoin, a weekly show recorded live every Friday, where we recap the top events of the week and talk about everything that is good for Bitcoin. If it's built on Bitcoin, then it's good for Bitcoin. Let's get started.
Content shared on this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and do not reflect the official policy or position of any other agency, organization, or company. We encourage you to conduct your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Good for Bitcoin. Super excited for the show today. My name is Brandon, and unfortunately, Kate is off today, but we still have a really awesome show lined up with the guys from ZeroAuthority. I can quickly go around if you guys want to introduce yourselves, and really excited to talk about on-chain reputation and just in general, like how Stacks is doing, and you know, we're kind of almost at the end of the year, so it's kind of a good time to also reflect on 2025, and we have a lot to look forward to, I think, in 2026. So welcome to the show.
Well, let me start by saying, hey, 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 what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Stacks Connect. So Mrs. Zero, she bought me my gold visors this year for Christmas, and she knows who I am online, and so she said, you know, it's about time you match your personality on the Twitterverse. And so I thought, you know, what better way to do it than on Good for Bitcoin. So Brandon, thanks so much for having us today, man.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Love the shades, and yeah, Hattie Hodl Stacks, let you guys say hello as well.
Hey, yeah, I wish I was looking as fly as Zero, man. That's gonna be hard to beat. He's man, you look like you're in the metaverse, man. But yeah, doing great. Really excited to be on. You know, it's that time of year where you want to see what you can push out for the end of the year, and really excited. And you start looking at next year about what you want to do, what you want to build, and just really stoked to get going for next year and what all we can do with Stacks, and you know, help Stacks grow, see what Stacks does, and man, just get this Bitcoin economy flowing. I'm very stoked for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm Hattie, also known as Brendan. So yeah, part of the team, super keen to be working with these two legends. And as both of them have said, it's the end of the year and we're already looking forward to next year. We've accomplished a lot this year, and we're keen to talk about that today, about what we've accomplished and what's yet to come.
Yeah, you guys have done a lot this year. So yeah, really looking forward to talking a lot about that. Before we get too far into it, we did actually post a bounty ourselves for the show today. So for those that have not seen it yet, if you're listening right now and you're listening live, go to ZeroAuthorityDAO.com. You will find our bounty in there, and we are going to be giving away $100 total. That's coming out of our pockets, because we don't have a show sponsor or anything like that. But go to ZeroAuthorityDAO.com. We're giving away, $100 in SBTC, a split among 5 different people. So 5 winners will each receive about $20 in SBTC. It's technically 0.00022 Bitcoin, but all you got to do is post proof that you are watching the show on X, submit a link to your post as proof, and we will select winners after the show is over. So go there. Before we get into the platform, because there is a lot of stuff to talk about there, ZeroAuthority DAO had a huge update this year. And I know that you guys are planning on more things as well. But I'd actually love to hear more about, you know, behind the builder, right? Like what personally, we can start with you, Zero, like what kind of personally brought you into Bitcoin originally and into Stacks? And I'm going to, while you're talking, I'm going to pull up and share my screen, and we can look at the actual ZeroAuthority DAO app. But would love to hear you start with that.
That's so awesome. And Brandon, thanks again for having us on. You and Kate are doing some phenomenal work for good for Bitcoin. I know I tune in all the time to see who's the latest and what's the latest updates in the Bitcoin economy. I think of Stacks as early in the Bitcoin layer two race and the early Bitcoin economy. When I got involved in crypto and I kind of learned about the pizza day, and then fast forward years later into that 2017 bull run, I got my first taste of crypto action, and Ethereum, coin Ethereum was just leading the charge at the time, and then you had the ICO craze. At that time, though, there wasn't much in terms of good crypto projects that had great documentation and great websites. And then I kind of stumbled upon Blockstack, which is now Stacks at the time, and they had a really good documentation, clean website. It was easy to understand the messaging, and the thought process was always, what if you take Ethereum and you built it on Bitcoin? And that's what Stacks has become. And now we're kind of fulfilling that destiny, right? I know there's a lot of chatter on the Twitterverse. There's a lot of chatter online about price action and this and that. But if you zoom out and you look at the market cap of all Bitcoin layer twos, oh, what's up, Grimaldo? That is my guy. He is a legend in the ecosystem. Love you, man. If you zoom out and look at the market cap of all Bitcoin layer twos, Stacks is around 550 billion, or no, million today. And so we're leading that charge, and a lot of the other layer twos are trying to compete with that. And there's a lot of work to do, right? So not just Stacks, but all of the Bitcoin L2s have a lot of work to do. And not even that. I mean, Bitcoin is still early in the cycle. At some point in our lifetime, we're still going to see a 10 to 20x on Bitcoin. Ethereum, Solana, these things are still early primitives, and there's still a lot to be built. First started building ZeroAuthority, we always came from the side of, at some point, there's going to be real people here solving real problems, and people are going to want to find those builders in the Web3 space. So why don't we create like a directory so people can find each other? So that literally that was v.01, a Web2 directory for people in Stacks to find each other. And then from there, we said, we need to build a Web3 version of this. At some point, we need to be fully on chain. And then we built V1, which was a Mexican piñata of different colors. It was terrible. And then we ran our first experiment with Hero Gamer and Shakti, and we said, hey, let's pay people on chain for the first D grants programs. And it was just a terrible experience. So God bless Shakti and Hero Gamer and everyone at the foundation. And then fast forward to this year, we completely rebuilt everything at the same time. So we did 3 different types of updates all at once. Usually they advise you just work on one. And the 3 that we built was, we completely rebuilt the infrastructure. We completely rebuilt our smart contracts, all of them, and we completely rebuilt the front end. And thanks to help with Red Block Labs, they helped us rebuild and engineer the front end. So what you're seeing is a completely new version of on-chain collaboration and on-chain people working together, right? There was no blueprint where we could copy and paste smart contracts on Ethereum or Solana, Brandon. What we did with the gig marketplace, James and I, we spent nights and weekends and nights and weekends figuring out the process. And then Hattie was in the background already working with different builders around the space, and he would come in and casually help us out throughout the whole process, and eventually became one of our key players at ZeroAuthority as a community strategy, as community lead. And so what you're seeing with this platform right now is this culmination of, we ran some early experiments. A lot of people helped us along the way. So Jack Ben Switch with the Rue Gang, with the Leo crew. We now run the Welsh community token, but a lot of the early Welsh believers were on the platform. And then decentralized grants is near and dear to our hearts. We want people to build their on-chain reputation by the things that they do on-chain, and this is going to be one of those ways. People can come here, they can facilitate. Do they need a grant? They'll be able to put in a grant request there. So that funding on the side, if you could just click on D grants there, Brandon, really quick. eventually for the next cohort, this will be fully on Zero Authority, and then go ahead and click on those funded projects there. You can see all the projects right now that are happening and live and running, and people are earning these earnings because they're creating projects that have real value and real utility. And then we still have creators, we have bounties, and then let's pull up the bounty for Good for Bitcoin too to show people where that is.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're doing this. I wanted to be able to click around and actually like give everyone a tour of the site. So yeah, we will find the Good for Bitcoin one here.
Yeah,
There you go.
and so people watching this right now, take a screenshot of the show, post it on X, and use that as your submission for the Good for Bitcoin and earn some SBTC. It's that easy. We want to make this economy going, and we always held the belief people will use Bitcoin in economic ways that create economic value. So we're just so stoked that we're at this point where people see the value that we want to bring and people can be a part of the journey with us. We believe this platform eventually will be completely self-governing and self-autonomous and will even hire us to do work together one day in the future.
But yeah, and I was really excited to do a bounty because, you know, I've been familiar, you know, with Zero Authority DAO for quite a long time, but I've never had the opportunity to post a bounty myself. So I was excited to be able to go through the process and sort of verify that it is fully an on-chain process, right? When you are posting a bounty, you are publishing it, you are signing transactions on the Stacks network, and you are sort of pre-sending what the bounty is as well. So like it is all fully on-chain, and it's really cool to see this in action, being on the other side of being somebody that is offering a bounty rather than just you know, completing different quests and tasks and stuff through the site. So it's really cool.
That's so awesome to hear that too, Brandon. And then how difficult was it?
I honestly, it wasn't difficult at all. I mean, for me, like I already obviously have like my Leather wallet all set up and everything, so I was just able to connect, you know, post a bounty. I think the hardest part was just like me figuring out exactly, you know, outlining exactly what the bounty, you know, steps were going to be.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's just writing some text. So in terms of using the platform itself, super straightforward on my end.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So two other things I really want to point out, and I really want to make this known. We had a really great conversation yesterday on the AI BTC community call, and Trippin Monkey said something that I really resonated. He said people need to build protocols, not self-contained applications. We truly believe that at Zero Authority. So if you scroll up to the top there, Brandon, I want to call out two things where we absolutely believe this is true. You click on Nova. Anytime we create any products or any type of data use cases, we add it to Nova AI, and then we add it to the API. So what does that mean? So anyone can go here and create your own bot on Telegram or Discord, or if you have any communities and you want to start to pipe in data from the blockchain and get alerts on tokens, on NFTs, on gigs, on bounties, you can literally do that in your Discord or your Telegram and pull in that. You could also, if you just wanted to track your own wallet, Brandon, you could literally click on track your own wallet on Telegram and drop in your Stacks address, and anytime something happens on your own address, it gives you a personalized DM directly to your Telegram. That's something that we wanted to do. Gizlo is the brains behind that. He's an absolute legend. And then if you go up there to the API, I want to show you this too, because everything that we do on chain either has a component for Nova AI where you can pipe in those data points to wherever you want, or we have the API. You can literally go up to where it says D grants, and we had our legendary Haas do all of this data mapping for us. So if you go to the API again, I want to show you this really quick, Brandon, and then just go down to let's see, where is, you see where it says grants? Get grants. So all listed grants, and then go down,
There you go.
and then execute that. And then copy the request URL.
Okay. This guy right here.
Open up GPT, pop that in, and say, give me two the grants, and give me some details. And I want to show people why we do this and how we build. We build with the mindset of, let's make this so easy to pull this data to wherever you need it to be, that it's just too easy to use. And we believe over time, this data is going to help the next level of applications and services that want to build on top of Stacks blockchain and want to build on an open community protocol like ZeroAuthority.
Just
So
as simple here? Is this my
give me
prompts?
2 grants, and just give me 2 grants and run it. Let's see what it pulls up. There you go. Boom, boom, bang. It's that easy. Like when people, and here's the beauty of this, Brandon. Over time, our agents are going to be more important, and they're going to do more things for us, right? When people come into ZeroAuthority in the next iteration, and Hattie talks a lot about this, people are going to have their agents. People will work with people. People will work with agents. Agents will work with people. You'll be able to mint an agent. Those agents will go out and fetch tasks for you. Not only that, the agent that you mint, you'll be able to train that agent and say, hey, I want you to personalize this and add these data points. And then once we turn on the inbox and then have agents running on the platform, these things will be self-governing. And when you train your agent, it's almost like train your dragon. I have 2 little kids, so I'm always watching Disney movies. Let's go. So when you train your agent and it's out there just doing things autonomously for you, you can earn, Brandon. So here's an example. So like what you just did, how hard was that to use
Yeah,
your
it's just,
agent and pull some data?
copy paste, super easy.
Copy paste,
Yeah,
super
that's
easy.
it.
Think about this too. At some point, someone's going to say, you know, a great service that I could build is I want to aggregate decentralized grants, gigs, bounties, also maybe like some DeFi data. And someone's going to build that, and we need to make that super, super easy to build. So that's really what we're doing here, Brandon. That's what we're doing here. When the agents start running, how I envision this working is you're going to type, and you're going to just kind of message your agent and say, this is what I'm thinking for the day, this is what I'm doing, because we'll have some dashboards and all that jazz. But when you're typing with your agent in your personalized chat, you'll also have pop-ups because people are typing and asking their agents questions like, who can I find that has React experience that can build this app on Stacks for me? And because your agent knows you have that experience, and there's another agent typing with their personalized person, right? All these agents are personalized. In your messages, it'll just say, ping, hey, Brandon, I know you have this experience. Would you feel comfortable building this thing? And then boom, it's just going to self-match everyone. Someone needs a project, someone needs a builder, and they both need each other. And then vice versa with the data services, and then you have X402 now, where you could even, the vision that we even have for this is that we're chain agnostic, so we're on Base and Stacks today, where your agent, you're just asking questions like, I wonder if there's some data for decentralized grants and some stats on people who do that, who go through the decentralized program.
I wanted to give a shout out to Tooney also, who's working on X402 Stacks. He was at the
Yes.
Hacker House, had a
Tooney's
chance to
awesome.
spend some time with him, and really excited. He shared this one stat that was so cool during his pitch at Bitcoin Builders, which was I think it was 20% of all transactions on Base. It was like either like that day or like that week or something. 20% of all the transactions on the entire network were related to like X402 and AI payments. So all this
That's
stuff is
insane.
happening in the background, and it's AI doing it, right? So as humans, we don't really see it, but this activity is happening. And
It,
going back to your point too
totally,
about
totally.
platforms, right? It's so important to have platforms that are actually contributing to transactions on the network.
Hmm.
Right? So these types of projects are really, really important to have just a healthy, vibrant network that is contributing, gas fees, transaction fees, and all that stuff is really, really valuable. So the more platforms that we can have on Stacks and on Bitcoin, or ultimately, contributing back to Bitcoin through Stacks, the better, because it's all really, really valuable to keep the system going.
Yeah, so go to creators, and I want to show you this as an example, and then let's go to Doghouse, that first one, and then I just click on the name there. Something we re-architected was this on-chain score, and we still have a ton of work to do on it, to be frank. But if you go to learn more, we kind of have just some data points on it. It's not fully operational, but if you wanted to see who are the people who received grants and then what's their reputation, once all of this is working together, your agents can help people in the marketplace on top of Stacks and on top of these chains. Some quick examples will be, you have some data that you're contributing to the network, Brandon. Like, content really well. You are in some conversations where you can help others.
Mm-hmm.
When you're chatting with your agent and feeding that data, someone on the opposite end may be chatting with their agent and saying, I need some type of content that can help me expand and amplify our reach. And then that agent will pop up in that conversation, the Brandon agent, and say, hey, I've been working on these things. Can I give you some recommendations? And they may say, yeah, okay, we'll pay through X402. Pay me $5 in SBTC or whatever your preferred payment method is. And that's how easy it's going to be to facilitate and train your agents. But also there's an earning component too, because you're starting to create these economies where your knowledge is operating with or without you, but you're benefiting from that. And that's kind of what we see as the future of where all this is going.
Yeah, this is super cool. I know. I also want to talk a little bit about, I guess with the big update that you guys had this year, it was sort of merging a couple different projects together, right? There was like the ZeroAuthority, which is sort of like the gig marketplace kind of, and then there was also Trajan, and there was like, it's sort of a bringing together. I see here we have like endorsements, reputation, NFTs. I don't know if you want to expand on that a little bit on what these different kind of tabs are here. We see bounty
James
window
or
here as
Hattie,
well.
do you guys want to jump in?
Yeah. So, what really gets our juices flowing with reputation is, our platform, you really can create your individualized self on the blockchain of the different things you're interested in, the different things you do. And we think that's valuable because you can take that with you. No one can take it away from you. And over time, it builds up your identity on chain of things you like to do, things you like to participate in. And we think that's useful information for, personalized work you want to do in the future. Maybe that exposes you to interesting bounties that you could use this as a threshold or a barrier of entry or a way to participate in. Kind of rewarding your top 1,000 fans or your true 1,000 members of your community. It allows people to really express their niches and their interests that they really have. And over time, that carries through, and it allows you to, operate, whether you want to operate as a true identity or pseudonymously. You can do either one. And the reputation NFTs, non-transferable NFTs, these can be endorsements. That's where Trajan came from, which, allows someone to endorse another person and this person's very smart. They helped me with this, or they have these skills, or, it's something that you can take with you with your wallet forever. And I think that's a beautiful thing in of itself. And then we also have, you do various things within the platform, and you can mint these NFTs, and they become badges that you carry with you as well. I used to always tell Zero, it's like Pokemon badges. You go through and you complete all these different tasks, and you get to carry it with you. It allows you to showcase your uniqueness and the various things you've done. And I think a good example of that is like, there used to be there were various clarity courses people completed, various things people complete online that they can be semblances of skills learned or challenges overcome. Also, being early or being an early adopter, beta tester, it can really showcase a lot of different aspects to a person. And how I envision, this platform over time, the more scale you get, the more individualized your experience can be. So you can niche down more and more, and allows you to really work on and participate in the things that resonate with you at that time. And, you're able to show that off and carry forward that reputation. I think it's very exciting. In the world of AI, and everything feels kind of getting more and more similar. I think it was Naval that was saying that this ability that allows you to showcase your uniqueness, your interestingness. You can integrate AI and make that better, but you being the person that you are is still very interesting to all of the rest of us in the meat space. So, I think that authenticity is going to be a huge, huge thing in the future. And, this is what our platform will enable.
Yeah, I think one thing that's also really cool about all of this is because you're authenticating through Web3. It's all Web3 powered. There's a lot of people online that prefer to be anonymous. So this also supports that, right? Like you don't have to be on LinkedIn verifying your, ID. This is, fully anonymous, but you're signing, your credentials through on-chain transactions. So it's still, there's still an element of trust. It's not like, somebody can impersonate you. And that aspect of it is also really.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely fits with Bitcoin ethos. Allows you to have an identity separate from your government identity, so to speak, right? So you can build up your skills and things you're able to show off to other folks at the same time, yet they don't need to know every last detail about you. They know what you're capable of doing, the people you were able to work with and make happy in the past, and all kinds of things in the future. I think it's kind of like what you do defines you. So that's what ZeroAuthority is all about.
Totally. I think Zero dropped, maybe he had technical issue and we'll bring him back up. But I also wanted to, going back to D grants, you guys were selected in the most recent cohort. I really love to hear these stories about, what it was like for the builders to go through that. How has the support been, from Stacks through that process, and would love to hear a little bit more about that. And congratulations also for being, a recipient.
Yeah. I'll let Hattie, if you want to jump in. Hattie is the D grants aficionado, if you want. And then Hattie too, if you want to cook on the other stuff we were talking about. I know you're passionate about reputation as well.
Yeah. So I think, Brandon, we are super excited to be recognized by the ecosystem of adding value. And I think D grants is a key indicator. And that gives us, like we always talk about, and I think a lot of builders talk about in the ecosystem, is the rocket fuel. So we have a 5-10 year plan, and it's about the rocket fuel to get there. As Zero and Hodl always talk to, so we are self-funded. And obviously now we get some grants, which allows us, and you can see the evidence of that, of where those grants are pushing us to. And to follow on from what you guys were talking about earlier, which I think what we're trying to do, to follow on from what Zero said and what Hodl said, is we're trying to build the protocol that will help us to reimagine what the future of work will look like, because that's where we're transitioning to. So with AI tooling and the rest of it, we're trying to help people to transition into the future of work as it becomes more remote as such. And I think that's what the D grant is helping us to do, is to push ourselves further. And we want to build on Bitcoin, and we want to make Bitcoin the best. Stacks gives us a platform to allow us to do that. Now we're reimagining what that is. So as we keep saying, is earn, biddle, own. So giving people a place to earn, people can build something and they can own their reputation out of that, which is vitally important to the ecosystem. And I think one thing that both these legends haven't touched on yet is proof of human. So we've spoken about pseudo-anonymous, but we also have proof of human. How do I know that I'm dealing with Brandon? How do I know I'm dealing with Hodl? And I think that's another layer to what we're trying to build, is how do I know that I'm actually interacting with you? Or I need marketing advice. How do I come to you, and how does your agent help me? And how do I know that agent comes from you? So it's not a fake version of you. It's actually the agent that you've created that I'm hiring to do work for me. And I think that's another part of the future problems we're trying to solve, that you don't get, which Hero and I were talking about earlier this week, was we've had the rug pulls. We don't want AI agents to be another rug pull. And how do we prevent that rug pull so people don't get rug pulled in the future?
Totally. Yeah. Lots of stuff to think about in terms of safety mechanisms. And yeah, I remember, I mean, I can't remember if it was at the beginning of this year or maybe it was even last year, where we had all these AI like bots that were on Twitter, and people were like interacting with them, and people were trying to find ways to, you know, get the AI to send them money, like even though they were explicitly, you know, programmed not to, and then people were like hacking into them. So it's like a whole other, you know, type of safety and security mechanisms that you have to think about when it comes to AI, especially if they have, you know, keys to funds that, you know, need to be protected.
Yeah, I think we're getting there, where you will have an agent that looks after your trading strategy. You'll have an agent that looks after, potentially, especially with X402 now, that it's going to stop paying bills for you. So here's my bills, here's my assistant, please go off and look after these and make sure they're paid on time so I don't have penalties. There's a whole host of opportunities and negativity that could come out of that, where you're increasing the attack vector.
I think it's important too, from like the security side of things, where you have proper scoping, right? I don't think it's super useful to have one agent that does everything for you. I think it makes a lot more sense to have some programming logic that determines what's the task and which agent do I call upon. So I kind of look at, like, you're the CEO of a company and you have very many employees, and the employees wear different hats, they have different responsibilities, different access. And I think that is a good way to envision how maybe these agents work in the future a little bit clearer. Which doesn't eliminate risk, it doesn't eliminate security concerns, but it reduces them. And I think that allows too for people to have more customization and more things they can pick and choose what they're comfortable with and what they want to do. So that gets me excited as well.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Like, yeah, instead of having one general purpose AI agent that's doing everything for you, kind of siloing them and having different permissions for different agents, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So AI certainly going to be a big focus for you guys kind of coming into the new year. I guess if let's say we're looking at, you know, ZeroAuthority a year from now, kind of looking at the end of 2026, what is that going to look like? Can you give us a little preview of kind of what's ahead and what we can expect to see maybe a year from now?
So I'll let Hattie cook on this too. But one of the things I'm really excited about is providing more data and insights from bounties. So making the bounty process a lot easier in terms of, you know, here's the scoping, here's what a submission, and having more and more of the data easy to view on our platform. So you'll be able to easily see the submissions from X. You'll be able to we want to bring in social information from folks like Lunar Crush, where you kind of get an easy way to see the results of what a bounty really does. What kind of traffic does that bring to your page that you're looking for? Are you engaging your most popular fans, your most fanatic fans? I think there's a lot there in terms of allowing folks to see the value of bounties. And I'm also very passionate about having more of the proof around the submissions of bounties. So maybe part of the bounty submission process is you have to add a certain amount of SBTC to a protocol like Bitflow to participate in this. You're trying out a new feature on their platform, or you're doing this. That could be part of the qualifications of submitting the bounty or winning the bounty. And so I think being able to play with off-chain data and on-chain data is qualifiers, as tickets to admission to be able to participate in a bounty, as various ways to engage your community. I think all of that is very useful. And over time, I want to plug in more and more with different information. If you're a YouTuber and you want to engage the people that follow your channel, how cool would that be if you could pull in and have that integrated, where only the people that follow your channel can submit a bounty submission? Things like that. Really, it kind of gets the juices flowing of like the more interconnected you are, the more your profile on ZeroAuthority matters. And so what your wallet does, what you do on various social platforms, I think it means something. So that's a little look. We have a lot of different areas though, but those are things that I'm very excited to see and are definitely on the roadmap. So Hattie, go ahead. I know you got some things to say too.
Yeah, would love to have you add on to that.
I think Zero, Hoddle, and I have long discussions, generally late into the evening for me and for them, about where we're trying to go with ZeroAuthority. I think one of the things, bounties, like Hoddle said, we've yet to see people fully embrace what bounties could be and fully embrace what reputation will become. And I think what I'm striving for is, when you go anywhere, you're going to see a little icon that isn't just YouTube, it isn't just LinkedIn, it's going to be ZeroAuthority. And the reputation that we provide and the services we provide for the future of work are going to be ubiquitous everywhere. And people are going to ask for it. And I think ZeroAuthority is going to help people that they don't yet realize. This is your resume on the blockchain. We're building your resume on the blockchain, one bounty at a time, 1 gig at a time, and one endorsement at a time. So I think that's where I see us going in 2026, is where we become that little icon that people look for. How do I go and verify Brandon? How do I verify that he's done these things? I can click on this icon, go to ZeroAuthority, and I can see what he's done. And then following from that, I can take the API and I can verify it again on chain very easily with AI. I can pull this, what we just did on the show, pull it out, and I can verify it and question, is this the right person I'd like to employ?
It's awesome. It's awesome stuff. Yeah, it's like very much network effects with this type of platform, right? Where you need larger amounts of people that are using it, that are all, posting bounties and interacting with the platform. And once you start to build up those network effects, that's where it really starts to take off. So hopefully, with the D grants funding, and hopefully we'll see more of that. Just today, we didn't get a chance to really recap it for the show today. We're going to talk about news in a little bit, like we always do on the show. But Stacks Endowment, just posted their recap of what they're looking into for 2026. More grants are on the way through Stacks Endowment. So, we're going to see a lot more support for builders on Stacks, which I'm super excited about. And just really looking forward to seeing what you guys continue to do. Unfortunately, I think Zero had to drop. I don't know, maybe he's having a connection issue or something.
Sorry, he had a meeting.
But really great to chat with you guys and to learn more about ZeroAuthority DAO. ZeroAuthorityDAO.com. Go there to find out more. Create your profile. You just got to connect to Stacks Wallet and you can get started and participate in the giveaway that we're doing. There's still time to do that. So I think we're going to roll into me just talking about a couple of news stories. You guys are welcome to stay on if you'd like, but we keep it short and sweet on the show. So
Could I have 10 seconds?
yeah,
I think,
yeah, go
is
ahead.
it okay? I think the only thing that we forgot to mention is that we are not only building for individuals, we're also building for businesses. So this is a platform that will also be for businesses and DAOs, especially tooling for DAOs.
Right. Like if you're businesses in the sense, like if you're hiring or something like that, right? And you can see your reputation of like applicants or what other kind of use cases?
I think we're going to build a whole host of tooling that will enable businesses to be able to manage teams and to be able to coordinate teams. And when you look at DAOs, you're going to have lots of contractors in the future because gigs are going to become a lot larger and permanent jobs a lot less. And I think we'll have the tooling to be able to organizations to quickly build themselves and also quickly build themselves with agentic AI.
Super interesting. Okay, well, we'll look forwad to all that. Hattie, Hodlestacks, and Zero, thank you all three for joining the show. We'd love to have you back sometime to talk about new updates to the platform. But yeah, again, go to ZeroAuthorityDAO.com, find out more. And yeah, thanks again for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Brandon, and appreciate all you do.
Cool. Thank you guys. Yeah, we're going to get into just some of the news like we normally talk about on the show. We got to start with some Bitcoin treasury company news. Strategy bought a absolute ton of Bitcoin this week. They acquired 10,624 BTC, and they now hold 660,624 Bitcoin. There was also a picture of Michael Saylor was at the JP Morgan offices this week. People were speculating what that could mean, but it's still all speculation. So we will see what happens there. ProCap BTC, they acquired 49 Bitcoin, so they now hold an even 5,000. That is Anthony Pompliano's company who went public last week. Officially, in a press release this week, they also disclosed having $175 million in cash. And as part of the Bitcoin purchase, they said they had capitalized on a realized loss, which may be used to offset future gains and provide strategic flexibility, but they didn't really explain any further what that meant. So a little bit vague there, but yeah, they bought more Bitcoin at least. And then finally, 21 debuted on the NASDAQ this week, but their shares fell after their debut. They're currently trading around $12. They were trading below 12 yesterday. So because of that, they are now trading below their MNAV. So the Bitcoin that they have on their balance sheet is actually worth more than the market cap of the company itself. So super interesting to see that. 21, has huge backing from like Tether and SoftBank and Cantor Fitzgerald. So they're one of the big ones. I think they're top three in terms of how many Bitcoin they have on their balance sheet in terms of public companies. So yeah, super, super interesting. Getting into the more regular news, I thought this was pretty interesting. This chart was shared from Galaxy Research, and I wanted to share the image here. So this is a chart looking at what would happen basically if you had DCA'd monthly into Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana over the past 5 years. So you can see in the chart, if you had DCA'd into Solana over the past 5 years, you would have technically earned more than if you had bought Bitcoin. But what their conclusion was, they have a full paper on it, but what their conclusion was is that, Bitcoin had, much deeper liquidity and also lower volatility, which I think we've certainly felt. Bitcoin, especially like this year, it's gone up and down a little bit, but it's kind of felt like a stable coin in some ways, right? It's been around this like 87 to like 93K price for quite some time now, where with like something like ETH, maybe a little bit more balanced, but not quite as high of an upside as Bitcoin over the past 5 years. And then Solana has just had higher upside, but sharper drawdowns, with the FTX, hack, Solana almost like went to zero. And then it's been sort of clawing back, up since then. So they've had, higher highs and lower lows. So technically they've beaten Bitcoin, I guess, on a 5-year period on this chart, but Bitcoin's just kind of been that slow and steady wins the race, kind of coin that we all appreciate. So super interesting there. Couple other things. This one's cool. So charitable organization Save the Children has launched a Bitcoin fund. Save the Children, they obviously are a huge organization, worldwide organization. So this was developed in partnership with digital asset firm Fortress, and it will allow Save the Children to accept and hold donations in Bitcoin, stablecoins, and other cryptocurrencies. The organization started the initiative arms to circumvent the traditional banking channels that frequently break down or become inaccessible during natural disasters and conflicts, which is a common cause of aid slowdowns. And they've actually been in the Bitcoin game for a while. They first accepted Bitcoin in 2013. They've used their HODL Hope initiative to raise millions in digital assets for children affected in conflicts like Ukraine and Gaza and Sudan. So I'm really cool. You can go to savethechildren.org if you'd like to donate some Bitcoin. Lastly, we have a ton of news this week coming out of the OCC, which is kind of one of the main regulators of banks in the US. So first one is they have cleared banks to act as crypto intermediaries in riskless transactions. What does that mean? Basically, it means that banks can now act as intermediaries in purchases of crypto for their clients. So in these deals, basically a bank will buy crypto from one party and then simultaneously sell it to another. So, they might be holding crypto or Bitcoin for like a really small period of time in between those two things. But basically they have, because it's happening so quickly, they have little to no asset exposure on their own balance sheet. So now they're allowed to facilitate those. The OCC said that these activities will not be treated as novel or presumptively unsafe, just because they're holding it for such a short period of time. So that eases kind of a layer of regulatory friction that banks have had in participating in crypto. One other thing is they have also published a statement allowing banks to recognize Bitcoin and other select cryptocurrencies like ETH and USDC as collateral, specifically in derivatives markets. So just getting more and more entrenched there. They have also conditionally, I think this just happened this morning, conditionally approved applications to convert BitGo, Paxos, Fidelity, Ripple, and First National from state trust companies to national trust companies. And basically what this means is that a ton of red tape got cleared this week for banks to provide crypto services, but also for crypto companies to provide banking-like services. So this doesn't mean that they're banks. Trusts don't take deposits or make loans, but can do qualified custody. They can make trades on behalf of their clients. They can execute payments and a few other things. So for me, this kind of just means that like eventually everything is just merging into these companies just being financial services companies, and you won't really be seeing a difference between, TradFi and CeFi crypto companies. It's all just going to be finance. So that is certainly the direction that we are headed. So a lot of big news happening with banks this week. One other thing is Do Kwon, who is the founder of Terra Luna. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison this week related to the fraud that was Terra Luna. He pleaded guilty to conspiracy and wire fraud back in August. For those maybe that weren't here in crypto at the time, this was back in May. He basically had this stablecoin called Terra Luna. Luna, I think it was Terra. Terra was the stablecoin and Luna was like the altcoin. And rather than being backed by US dollars, it was an algorithmic stablecoin. So one was sort of backing the other. So to like keep Terra pegged at $1, they would burn Luna and then they would mint Luna and they would like burn and mint to keep like Terra at like a stable rate. And the thing that was fraudulent about it was that they were basically giving everyone 20% APY or promising 20% APY, which is obviously very attractive, if you want to earn. Through the collapse, basically it all unwound. And through the collapse, they wiped roughly $50 billion from the crypto ecosystem over the course of just 3 days in May of 2022. So with this ruling, he must serve at least half of his sentence before he can apply for a prison transfer to his home in South Korea, where he faces even more charges there. Not looking good. He got a lot more sentence, or a lot higher of a sentence compared to somebody like SBF, but he also did a lot more damage than somebody like SBF. There's a lot of, I remember like back then there was just a ton of retail users, that were using Terra Luna and trying to get that 20% savings. This was at a time, especially like in 2022, when interest rates were really, really low. So, you could either get like 1 or 2% at a bank, or you could get, 20% through Terra Luna. And that was just bringing in a ton of people. So it was kind of one of those onboarding events that turned nasty at the end with the collapse. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that I fired off some of the news because there was a few pretty interesting things that happened this week that we needed to talk about. Next week, though, is going to be a really big one, for us, really big one for the Stacks ecosystem. Kate and I are both going to be moderating some panels next week. There's 2 webinars that Stacks Foundation is hosting on Bitcoin capital markets. One is on Monday, the other one is on Wednesday. We're going to be moderating some of those panels. Kate and I are also going to be hosting the Stackies on Thursday, which is very exciting. That is the community awards for builders and just community leaders, and it's just a really nice way to recognize all the really awesome people in our community. Really looking forward to that. There's going to be some announcements happening during the town hall that's also happening on Thursday, which you are not going to want to miss. I can't say much, but I'll tell you that. And I think that about covers it for the week. So thank you again to the Zero Authority guys for joining, and go to goodforbitcoin.com to subscribe. We do the news every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We stream it live here and also on YouTube. And thank you to the audience. Thank you to everybody for tuning in and for joining us and for interacting. I was trying to share a bunch of messages in the chat as much as I could. So thank you for tuning in. And we will see y'all next week. Bye, everybody.